Hare Krishna, dear Sastsvarupa Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'm sitting in Mayapur under lockdown and quarantine, and I find myself thinking about you almost every day because, of course, I'm reflecting on my life as we tend to do when we get older, and especially because practically every week uh, we're seeing disciples of Srila Prabhupada leaving their bodies at what seems to be a really uh, increasingly rapid rate. So it's clear I don't have much time left. And when I think about all the wonderful devotees who have been so helpful to me, influential to me in devotional service, if I could pick out one person, highlight one person who is most significant, that person would be you. And the reason is that you seem to ground me, although that was difficult for you because I was a little bit crazy and, yeah, a little bit wild sometimes also. On the other hand, overall, you were more effective, I think, at grounding me than just about anybody else I've ever met. Uh, one example is Mangalarti Kirtan, that you taught me how to sing Mangalarti Kirtan, that it's should be just one melody the whole way through, alternating between the so-called low part, the so-called high part. Very simple. That's what Prabhupada taught you. And that's what I do. I do it every morning. And that's what I teach my followers. But these days, I rarely see this kind of kirtan in ISKCON. It's practically non existent. And usually, when I'm traveling, I just have to accept whatever standard the local temple has, or uh, I try to uh, adjust. I try to, how do you say, I try to teach them what they should be doing, but usually they don't want to hear it. They're in their habit. This is the way. There's whatever speculative way they're doing. This is the way they've learned since they joined ISKCON. So I feel so fortunate that you taught me the proper way. And even among senior devotees, even amongst our God brothers, rarely do I hear it done in the simple standard way that you taught me. And so because I'm doing this every morning, and because this is what I'm also broadcasting on YouTube for my followers, therefore naturally I think of you. Um, and this may come as a surprise to you because, of course, you and I haven't been in touch practically at all the past several years. And even before that, sometimes I was even offensive to you. But I appreciate so much what you've done for me. When I met you, I was sort of spinning in circles. Um, I was trying to sort of stabilize, despite my wild tendencies, and I had met Hridayananda Maharaj in the summer of '73, and I was so impressed by him. Eventually, I he recruited me for his traveling party in the mainland United States. At that time, I was in Puerto Rico, and he recruited me to be on a collecting party with Kirti Dev Prabhu and Pratatriyaja Prabhu, collecting Lakshmi to print and to publish and print the first Bhagavad Gita in Spanish. We were distributing some books, but not so many. Mostly we were just collecting. I found it really, really boring, even depressing. And by the time we got to Rath Yatra in San Francisco, in the summer of '74, I told Sridhar Maharaj, I don't think I can do this anymore. I told him I want to preach at universities. So he said, okay. He said, go find Ganesham Das. He's preaching at universities, and he can point you in the right direction. So great. I went and found Ganesham Das, and he said, yeah, sure. He said, listen, in just a few minutes, I'm going over to where Srila Prabhupada is staying to meet with Rameshwar Prabhu and Sastsvarupa Maharaj to explain to them what we do on our party. And why don't you come along? You can hear the same explanation. I said, okay, great. So I went with him uh, to Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada was staying. You had a room close by, and you and Rameshwar Prabhu were waiting for us, while waiting for Ganesham Prabhu. So we sat down, and he explained the whole process of selling books, selling standing orders to librarians and professors. I was sort of sitting in the back, and after some time, you said, "And who's this?" And Ganesham Prabhu introduced me, and he said, "And what is your interest in this?" I said, "Well, I was thinking that maybe I could travel with these devotees for a couple of weeks and learn what they do, and then take it back to Puerto Rico and do the same thing there." He said, "Well, why don't you just stay with us, stay with our party?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "You'll have to ask Hridayananda Maharaj, my GBC." And you kind of chuckled. I didn't understand why you chuckled, but later I understood that, first of all, you and Hridayananda Maharaj were old friends. You had traveled together. Uh, and also, he was the one who had started the library party. And he was well aware of the importance Srila Prabhupada was giving it. So to get his permission, from your point of view, wasn't a big deal. So that's what you did. Uh, you asked his permission, he agreed, and that was it. I think in the beginning, I didn't really understand what a uh, huge amount of mercy you were giving me. Later, I understood. And now, perhaps, I understand even more than I ever did before. Because you gave me your association, a kind of association which I had never experienced before, and which was, I can only describe as sublime. When I walked into that room where you and Rameshwar Prabhu were, I was stunned by what I saw. You just looked so saintly, slender, effulgent, big eyes. You just looked very Krishna conscious. And you looked like a real sadhu, like a saint, like a mendicant. And after that, you didn't cease to impress me by what you spoke and what you did. So you brought me into your association. You gave me an opportunity to do an extremely important service for Srila Prabhupada on an elite Sankirtan party. There was only one small party like this in all of ISKCON. And you brought me closer to Srila Prabhupada. And for that, I am forever grateful. Now, I've called this video part 1 because I'm hoping to make some more videos like this, just reminiscing about my experiences with you and why I appreciate you. For the time being, this is it. Thank you again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.